Hello.
Hello.
Why you are interested in uncomfortable things?
I will explain you in 1 minute.
1 minute, okay.
Yes.
I'm waiting.
In 20 minutes.
Good, thank you.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Good. Okay. So my name is Katerina Kamprani. I am a designer from Greece, and today I want to talk about design, comfort, and user experience. And I will try to answer this question. Do we really have to design comfortable objects? But, okay, like that? Okay, thank you. So, before I answer this question, I want to share one little thing about me. Take the pointer. Okay, whoops. Yeah, well, this little detail is that I said I'm a designer, but I'm really an architect, and I have this personal project that is called The Uncomfortable, and I design uncomfortable objects, like this watering can that brings the water back to the watering can. This long mug for a really long tea. And these rain boots that are for the summer. Okay, and first of all, I will try to explain to you a little bit why I started to design for discomfort. And it starts like in my student years that I studied architecture. I slowly realized that I like very much humor as a creative outlet, and I was making funny images and funny videos, and I was trying to express myself and communicate with other people. But this did not really have like an application in architecture, because when you're an architect, you have a big responsibility. You design houses that people are going to live pretty much the rest of their lives in, or maybe public spaces that they use, like thousands of people use them every day. So you cannot really like be funny and humorous about it. Like there's a big responsibility in doing that. So while I was studying architecture, I was also like scrolling a lot online, and things I would see online, they were very interesting. Like I would follow design blogs and like Design Boom or Swiss Miss back then, and I would see like these very, very interesting projects that were like very smart and funny and playful. I want to show some of them to you. Like I would see this salt and pepper shaker that you have to break it in order to use it. Or this bag that is like a bag, it has like a sole of a shoe underneath that you can take it like everywhere, leave it down everywhere in the mud. Or this like, these cups for like the pen that you can put them like on your, when you're in the office, and you can put them on your pen, and then you can like eat your dinner. And I was like, wow, very nice ideas. So I thought that maybe design is like more freeing than architecture. It's like more smart and fun and playful. So maybe if I go and do a master's on design, I will like combine my previous knowledge, and then I will have the creative outlet I was looking for. But I was wrong, because when I started studying like my master's in design, I realized quickly that design is also a very serious business. Because first of all, let me tell you that the master's that I did introduced me also into the world of interactive systems. It was design of products and interactive systems that was like apps and websites and stuff like that. So I slowly realized that designing for the mass market also has a responsibility. So maybe the things that I was watching online, they were more experimental, and they were meant like more to express like a smart concept or a funny idea, but sometimes they were missing like some practical elements. So let's see, for example. So the bag. I mean, I still like it. I really like it very much, but when you put this bag that is meant to go like in like muddy places or like very dirty places and you put it like on mud, then you cannot put it back on your table or on your sofa. Like you have to always put it down on the ground. So I thought that sometimes like trying very hard to like have like a funny idea, you're solving like, or like a smart concept, you're solving one problem, but then you create another. So, on top of that, when I was studying design, something else happened. The crisis started in Greece. And like, I started thinking, maybe it's not a very good time to be a young designer in Greece, because we already didn't have any like in industry, like in, so, and now we're not gonna probably get one, so where am I gonna like work? So that and some other factors led me to quit my master's, and generally I was like very, I don't know, disappointed. So I thought that maybe I should just stop trying to find a creative outlet for my humorous ideas and all that. And I went back to architecture and I started working, like being a very serious and responsible person. Okay. Until a year later that I did this sketch when I was bored. And I want to tell you that this sketch illustrates very well one little thing that I learned in my master's about apps and websites. So let's compare this sketch, this bathroom, with a website. Okay, let's say that you have a website and you want to like book some theater tickets. Okay. Like with a website, like with this toilet, you have an end goal. Your end goal with a bathroom is to go to the toilet. Your end goal with a website is to book the tickets. In order to do that, you have to go through some steps. Okay. In the website, if it's very badly designed, you might find some confusing information. You might not be able to find the dates for your show, or not find like where the book button is, or maybe you're not sure if your payment went through, or something like that. This might make your experience with a website confusing. And although you might you might meet your end goal, you might end up booking these theater tickets. In the meantime, like you feel like a bit disappointed through this experience. And this is what's called user experience. What you feel like when you're using something. And like designers today aim to design products and systems that not only people achieve their goals, but they're trying to achieve their goals in the most pleasant manner. And this toilet is a very good example of a very bad user experience, because if you are like in a hurry and your end goal is to go to the toilet, you'll go to the toilet, it's possible, but going through that ladder might make your experience a bit uncomfortable. So I started thinking, what if objects were designed for a bad user experience instead of a good user experience? And that was my eureka moment. I finally found like a project that is smart and funny and humorous, and it doesn't have the responsibility of making things practical, because that is the core idea, to make things impractical. So I was very happy. Every time, like, I started thinking, like, every time I would pick an object, analyze it, find something to sabotage in a very discreet manner, and thus making it uncomfortable. Let's take the fork, for example. Okay. When we see an object like this, we all immediately understand what it is. This is because we have connected this image with the function of eating, of picking up food. This is called mental model, a mental model. When you connect something that you see with a usage, and this is an idea you have in your brain. To explain that a bit further, let's see Ariel the mermaid in action. So, Ariel the mermaid found a fork in a sunken ship, and her friends told her that this is a dinglehopper, and that humans use it to make their hair beautiful. So thus, Ariel has connected the fork with this usage of hair combing. That's her mental model. But everyone else has a different mental model, that forks are used for eating. So basically what I want to say is that a mental model is something very, very important for a good user experience, because using mental models can make either very easy or confusing user experiences. When we encounter something that is unknown, an object that we don't know what it does, this object, it gives us some visual clues about, first of all, we're trying to find a mental model. We see that, we don't understand what it is, so our brain doesn't have a mental model of what this is. Immediately, the next thing we do is try and pick up from some visual clues what that object might do. So here we see like a device that has a handle. So that means that probably we can grab it by the handle. And it also has like some, like 4 little piercing things. So it probably, you're meant to do like some kind of piercing with it. And then when you read the title, it's basically an innovation from 1952 for holding down meat when carving it. So these visual clues are also very important to give to the user in order to understand what's happening and how can we use an object, and that's called affordances. What I do is I try to design something that has all the properties and all the visual clues that gives your brain the sense that they see a fork. You understand that this thing, you connect it with your mental model of a fork. But then I give like this tiny visual clue that makes your brain for seconds be confused and then understands that this is not going to work. So, how I do it? Let's go back to the fork. So, when we see a fork, let's analyze it. What does it have? It has like this handle, it has the body that curves a little bit, and it has like the teeth. Okay, so let's try to sabotage like some properties of the object. It is also very small and lightweight. So here I try to sabotage the handle. So I cut the handle in the middle and I put a chain in it, and now you have to fish for your food. Here, I say, okay, the fork is like a very small and lightweight object that we can lift up easily, and so why not make it like very thick and heavy? And also, in that way, you also sabotage the way of piercing the food, like you can only do mashed potatoes with it. Okay. Here, in this image, I have made like some forks that are connected to each other with a chain underneath the table. So, and the chain is long enough only for one person to eat. Here, like it stops. Okay. So, I hope by now you understand that the forks are very, very well designed objects. So the useful side of what I do is actually that it helps people understand that some things that we take for granted are very, very well designed. And I believe that comfort is better perceived when it's absent. That's why they say this saying that good design is 99% invisible, because when things work very well, you do not really notice them. They're not a problem for you. So, let's go back to my initial question. Do we really have to design comfortable objects? And my answer is yes, of course we do. Designers need to pay attention to the users and their experience. And I think that aesthetics should follow the practicality of an object when it is designed. And that doesn't go only for objects, it can go for apps and websites and services and everything else. We should pay more attention to the user and its experience. But there is another side to this question that has to do with innovation. And my relationship with innovation is a bit weird, because when I designed like architecture and design, I felt that I was very pushed into appreciate innovative way of thinking and objects. And I was a bit skeptical about it, and I was thinking, oh, so what's wrong with designing like really traditional products? Like, why is that wrong? And that is maybe because of my origins, because I come from Greece and not Silicon Valley. And in Greece, things, I would say, they're pretty much like 10 to 20 years behind in terms of technology. So I felt that when I was young, I would see like cell phones in movies and fast internet and stuff like that. And I felt that for me, that was science fiction. In my life, we used things that were very old. So although I appreciate and it makes me excited, like innovative products and like new technology, this is something that was very far away from me. So in my project, I go back to things that people take for granted, and I basically appreciate the conventional and the traditional. There is a very nice say about this from Douglas Adams. He's a science fiction writer. And he said that anything that's in the world when you're born is very normal and ordinary and is just a natural part of how the world works. Anything that is invented between when you're 15 and 35 is new and exciting and revolutionary, and you can probably get a career in it. And anything that's invented after you're 35 is basically against the natural order of things. Okay. Yeah. So, let's go back to the forks. So, I'm sorry. I also wanted to say one little thing. That the things that if you think about this previous quote, the things that we take for granted should have been in the past, at some point in history, very innovative products. So let's go back now to the fork. The fork is not only a very recent addition to the tableware, it was also a very controversial product when it was introduced. And to get to the form that we see now, that is like the usual form, it went through a lot of steps. People were using forks in order to hold down the meat were cutting it. They didn't use it on the table. They used to eat with their hands and with the help of a spoon and knife. So I think that when you see, like, forks look like this. So when you see this, I don't think it would be a very easy decision to take this and put it in your mouth. Like, that's like a very sharp object. And you maybe didn't also want it on your table, like if you have an enemy in front of you, like, it's a very aggressive object. So the story of the fork goes like this. In the 11th century, a Byzantine princess took to her wedding like a little box with golden forks. And she introduced that to the wedding table. And the church opposed to such like this display of wealth, and said that it's a blasphemy to use like these objects and not use the hands that they were given to us by God in order to eat food. So this opposition, like to this tool, kept it a little bit from like spreading and being used. And we go then next to the 15th century, when Katerina of the Medici introduced it a bit further, and she made it more popular. But it was only until the 17th century that the forks started having the form that we know now. So we see that like a new product takes a really long time to and iterations to end up to a really comfortable stage and its end image. How do I want to close? Innovative products are usually not so comfortable. They might even be in their usage, or it might be even in the idea of the objects, or maybe a service or something that makes people uncomfortable because it is so new. So if we really want to innovate, we really have to start thinking about unthinkable stuff that might make some people uncomfortable. Okay. And I want to end this lecture because we're in Finland and it's very close to Christmas. I want to share, I'm sorry, yes, that's the end. I want to share my Christmas designs with you. This is like a very heavy Christmas Santa hat and my single Christmas light. Okay. Thank you very much.